Hi guys, this is Jay Kaushal, writer, motivational speaker, and life coach. So I'm back with another video, and I have been wanting to, diversify the topics of the videos that I make, and this is a video on numerology. Numerology is pretty, related to Vedic astrology, pretty related to, the spiritual, esoteric topics of self-discovery, on which I make videos that you guys seem to like a lot more. And I thought that I should also cover this. I'm also going to cover a little bit of Vastu because that is actually catching on, and there's a scientific basis to that science, to that art. I mean, a lot of people call these things pseudosciences, but they have their basis. If you talk about Vedic astrology, if you talk about Vastu, if you talk about numerology, and if you talk about things like graphology, personality analysis, all of these tools that I use in my actual life coaching practice, in understand, trying to understand people, kinesics, body language, things like that. I am going to be making a lot of videos on these topics, and some of them, the more Western tools like body language, kinesics, ocular kinesics, graphology, they're not considered pseudoscience. In fact, FBI, CBI, one of the most advanced crime branches in the world, they use and employ these tools in order to understand the minds of these people that they're researching, right? People of interest. So they don't classify this as pseudosciences, but astrology, Vedic astrology, Vastu and all of that, it's squarely dismissed as just mumbo jumbo and hocus pocus, which it is not, because the root of all of this knowledge is in the Vedas, and therefore there is a lot of sound basis and there's a lot of background theory to it. So I'm going to be doing these readings that you guys enjoy, but I'm also going to be doing these videos in which I'm going to be talking about these concepts which can actually help you learn and then employ them and understand better, discover yourself better. Okay, so let's get started. Number one is one of the most misunderstood numbers, I would say. Yeah, which is funny because it's the first number out of all of the numbers from 1 to 9. A lot of people say that if you have life path number 1, or if number 1 is prominent in your life in any way, then you end up lonely, which is not the case, and quite often people feel that way when selecting the numbers of, their cars, bikes, or their homes, or anything, that no, it should not add up to 1 because 1 also gets lonely. 1 is not about loneliness. See, I'll tell you something interesting. Number 1 corresponds to the sun, who is the king of the solar system, the ruler of the solar system. In Vedic astrology, we call the sun as the significator of the soul. The sun is the sthir atmakaraka, meaning it is the natural atmakaraka for everybody. What is the atmakaraka? Significator of the soul. Okay? Number 1 also corresponds to the natural sign of Aries. It also corresponds to the natural first house. The first house deals with what? Body. It deals with your life path. It deals with the trajectory of your life, but it also deals with the sense of self. So the shadow attribute of number 1 is, yes, people in selecting number 1 or life path number 1 people, they can tend to get pretty lonely because they may have a lot of ego. That's a negative attribute of it. However, the most positive attribute of the number 1 is unity. What is unity? Unity means recognizing that everything is one. So number 1 is a very spiritual number, and that's the highest expression of this number, because if you put 0 along with number 1, you form 10. And 10, as you would know, is a very powerful number. And, I don't really need to tell you that, because if you look into sports, some of the best players across sports, across teams, across countries, have been the players who've worn the number 10 jersey. And why is that? Because when you put along with 1, you put 0, which is nothingness, and also in itself an entire cycle, it becomes complete. So therefore, whenever you're looking at number 1, or whenever you're choosing something and you're coming across the number 1, or let's say you're seeing continuously 111 or 1111, you know, repetitions of the number one, if you're coming across them continuously or, you know, in any way, then understand that it is not about loneliness, it is not even about leadership as much as it is about spirituality. It is the universe, it is your body, it is your mind telling you to come back to yourself. Okay? Now, why is that? Let me quickly sum that up for you before, you know, I wrap up this video. See, the thing is, who is the best king? Who is considered to be the best ruler? Who is considered to be the best emperor? This is not just in Vedic culture, across cultures. In the Roman culture, in the Egyptian culture, you know, in the tribal cultures, and in the Eastern cultures mainly, we always associate a just emperor with somebody who is extremely spiritual. Because only a person who is truly spiritual, who is in touch with himself, who recognizes the oneness in everything, can be truly just. And in old times, I mean, there didn't really used to be courts as much as there used to be the court of the king. And so if you had to get justice, right, today we have Supreme Court, you had the court of the king, right, and it was up to the king. He had the final say in any matter. And a just king can only be a king who is completely spiritual, who is complete within himself, who understands that there is a lot to life and there is a lot to conquer, but within me, I'm complete. Okay, so that's just a little tidbit that I wanted to share with you about the number one. I'll be back with more such bite-sized pieces about a lot of other numbers. We're going to be talking about numerology a lot. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel so that you can stay abreast of a lot of the good content that I post. There's a huge variety of it, you can see it here. And push the bell icon so that you can be notified every single time I post. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.